giving the delight and pleasure that the Creator wants to give him. Therefore, when one looks at it to the extent that he feels that the will to receive is his enemy, to the extent of the preparation to know and to feel the suffering it causes him, only to that extent is one willing to obliterate it from the world. This is the meaning of what is written, blot out the memory of Amalek. That is, this implies that we should know that we can blot out only to the extent that we remember what is the measure of the bad that he has done to us. Accordingly, we can understand why we read the portion remember. Before proof, first we must understand what is Purim. In the work, the importance of Purim is explained in the words of that this is the meaning of what is written, their memory shall not fade from their descendants. That illumination is on the days of Purim each and every year. Therefore, in the future, all the occasions will be cancelled except for the scroll of Esther. The reason is that there has never been such a great miracle, not on Sabbaths and not on good days, for such an illumination to be. In this respect, there is a great merit to over all other days, even Sabbaths and good days. In the commentary open, he interprets that light which was in the days of Purim can shine only at the end of correction and not before. This light is called the light of the purpose of creation, that is, it is light of that is clothed in vessels of reception, meaning he wants to receive the delight and pleasure that are there which come from the purpose of creation. This light of the purpose of creation, called light of, cannot shine without clothing, and it dresses in the light of the correction of creation, called light of before the end of correction. This light of called of cannot shine together with the light of that time. There was a miracle because of the fasting and the outcries which extended light of, and then the light of good dress within the light of, and this is considered that there was a miracle when the light shone before the end of correction, since by nature that can shine only at the end of correction, which is called in the future. The miracle was that it illuminated before the end of correction. This is why our sages said all the occasions will be cancelled except for the scroll of Esther, since the light of Purim is the light that will shine in the future. It is written, and they stood at the bottom of the mountain, which means that he forced the mountain on them like a vault, and said, if you accept the Torah, very well, but if you do not, there will be your burial. Robber said, although the generation received it in the days of, as it is written, they kept what they had already received. We therefore see the importance of that they accepted the Torah willingly, whereas until then it was only by Korean. By this we can interpret what we asked, what is the meaning of the portion. Said the portion of remember being before, the reason is that there is no light without a CLE, hence we first must remember what Amalek did for him in the work is called the evil inclination, and remember the troubles he caused the people of Israel. Afterward, once we have a CLE, meaning a lack, it is possible to pray as then it was fasting and crying out, and then they were rewarded with kept and received willingly for the love of the miracle. It follows that we must prepare for Purim. She must say that the preparation is for the need and the CLE for the reception of their light. This means that by feeling the lack we can receive the feeling, as there are 6 work days before we can come to the state of Shabbat. As our sages said, he who did not toil on the of Shabbat, what will he eat on Shabbat? Meaning that only when there are 6 work days, then when Shabbat comes there is rest. One who works on Shabbat is regarded as desecrating the Shabbat, meaning he desecrated the rest. Wise the preparation for Purim is also the filling of the evil of Ham, who wants to destroy and to kill and annihilate all the Jews from youth to old, infant and women in one day. Therefore one must pay attention to the H in his heart and how he wants to destroy anything related to, meaning anything that can yield something that is regarded as regardless of the measure of the matter, even if it is the smallest. He wants to destroy it, and he regrets that he hasn't the power to overcome the thought. The H who wants to destroy all the Jews, we should interpret that all the Jews means anything that has some relation to, for the sake of their greater this he wants to destroy. This is called recognition of evil, which is a CLE and a lack afterward, we can receive a filling, for it called light which comes to fill the lack vat, is in the CLE, and afterward Israel were rewarded with, and it was turned to the contrary, so that the Jews governed their enemies, and they were rewarded with receiving the Torah willingly and not forcefully. But the heart of the miracle is that the Jews governed their enemies. That is when the quality of Jews in one's heart governs the work of the Creator can be done willingly and not by force. It follows that the heart of the miracle is when he was in a state where Haman controls and wants to destroy the entire quality of the Jews. When the Jews control one's heart, they can observe willingly and not forcefully. This is our sage, as our sages said Tyre was built only out of the ruin of Jerusalem, and vice versa. When one rises, the other falls. The heart of man's work is to pray to the Creator to give him the desire to bestow. This is the heart of the prayer, as it is written, he who comes to purify is aided when the Creator gives him the desire to bestow. This is the heart of the miracle, and this is called a second nature, and it is in the hands of the Creator to give him a second nature. This is why we read the portion before, but before the portion of remember, we read the portion. This comes to tell us that in the work, as the Zohar says, means with which to weigh every stone. This is so because one must weigh the order of one's work to see whether or not it is for the sake of the Creator. That is, it is impossible to blot out Al before one knows the power of the bad within him and how it causes all the distancing from a preacher when weighing the work in order to see if they are fine or not. We can come to the recognition of evil, then the extent to which we feel the bad and cannot overcome it, meaning that we see that we cannot prevail over it. This is still not regarded as recognition of evil. However, this means that he sees the losses that the evil causes him, and he wants to get rid of the evil. This is called recognition of evil, meaning the sensation of the evil. In other words, when he sees the losses that the evil causes him, this is called recognition of evil. This feeling comes to a person through labor in when the light in the Torah makes him feel that the situation he is in is very bad because it causes him to be far from God. But if he does not feel that he is immersed in self-love, it harms him, and this is called recognition of evil precisely through. And when he tries to obtain through them assistance in the work, then the Torah reveals to him the bad in him. The first assistance he receives is the recognition of evil, meaning to recognize that the bad, meaning the will to receive for oneself, is bad and harmful to spirituality. It follows that the meaning of recognition of evil is to recognize that the bad, meaning the will to receive, is what is harmful to man, and when one feels that it is harmful, he can pray from the bottom of their heart. However, we must understand why there should be a prayer from the bottom of their heart. The answer is that since one cannot feel the real taste of anything unless he has a yearning for it from above, they want that when he asks for something, that his request be answered. There must be a real lack. This is called a prayer from the bottom of their heart, and is known that heart means desire. When one prays to be given some filling, he must have a lack for the filling. For this reason, if one has another desire in one's heart, it is a sign that he does not have a big desire. Since his desire splits into two desires, it follows that neither are great. If he has but one desire in the heart, this is considered that what he asks is from the bottom of the heart. That is, he does not have any desire in between. He might have a desire to learn through, also in between he might have a desire to learn and also a desire to rest to not exert. This too is considered two desires, and is already not considered that the fact that he wants to learn is one desire, since he wants to enjoy rest. Therefore, we read the portion before the portion, since first we must know that the will to receive is called bad and harmful, and then we can say, remember what it did to you, meaning when he enthroned the will to receive over the people of Israel in both mind and heart. And since we know that he did a bad thing we want to obliterate, we should know that in the order of the work we must make several discernments. One, when a person begins to enter the work of observing, and he does not feel deficient, since he knows that he is more or less observing, hence he has no reason to say that he has add that he has. Bad too, when he begins to examine his actions, he begins to feel that he has bad in him, and he is wicked, not a complete wicked, since he sees that there are worse people than him, therefore he is called incomplete. Wicked, when he wants to work in order to bestow, he sees how far he is from this work, hence the wicked comes to him with the who and what questions. At that time he comes to a state where he sees that he is a complete wicked in both mind and heart. When he is in a state of assent, he thinks of himself that he is righteous, meaning that he will remain in a state of assent forever, yet afterward another descent comes to him, and he sees that he is wicked. Therefore he does not know what to say about himself, whether to say that he is a complete wicked, since he sees that he is a sense when he appears to himself as righteous, or to say that he is righteous, since he sees that during a descent he's wicked, and since a person is close to himself, he accepts a bribe from the body which he loves, and says that in truth he is righteous, but an incomplete righteous. In other words, since the body will enjoy more if he justifies himself, he says about himself that he is an incomplete righteous, because he has the sense at which time he is in the state of wicked. He does not say that he is wicked because of the descent for the above reason that he accepts a bribe from the body, so he chooses to say that he is righteous, but an incomplete one. As it is written, a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and distorts the words of the righteous. We can see an example of this in the manner of the world, in the way in the manner in which the world behaves. We see that many people buy lottery tickets in order to win the draw. Each one thinks that he will win the grand prize in the lottery, although there could be 1,000,000 participants in the lottery and only one winner. Nevertheless, he participates in the draw and thinks that he might win. That is, although it is doubtful, he thinks that he might still win. Conversely, we see that when those who buy the lottery want to go to some place by car, we see that 1 out of 1,000,000 has a car accident and people are hurt. But that person who bought the lottery ticket is not afraid that he might have an accident. He does not say, as when he comes to buy a ticket, that he might have an accident. The reason for this is that since a person is close to himself, he cannot see anything bad about himself. If there is something bad, it will probably happen to others and not to him. Although he has hopes about winning the lottery with a car accident, someone else will win this, and not he. God forbid. Although based on what does he determine that there is a difference between the lottery and an accident, and yet a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and distorts the words of the righteous. Therefore, when one sees that he has ups and downs, he says that in truth he is righteous. So why is he having the sense? For then during the descent he sees that he is wicked. As a result, he says about himself that he is a righteous, a light, and complete. 5. When he is rewarded with complete faith and aim his work in order to bestow, but only in vessels of bestow, it can be said that he already has love of the Creator, although only with a good inclination of reception which pertain to the evil inclination. Those are still outside of when he achieves repentance, meaning when he is rewarded with love of the Creator with both your inclinations. It is written, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, meaning with both your inclinations, the good inclination and the evil inclination. This is considered that one has repented, meaning that the bad in him, which are the vessels of reception, have also entered and he can work with them in order to best. This is why our sages said, in a place where they who repent stand, complete righteous do not stand. This means that complete righteous cannot stand, in meaning that complete righteous cannot use vessels of the evil inclination, which are vessels of reception, for self-benefit. So they are corrected and are, in meaning that they work for the sake of their Creator. It follows that everything follows the order of the degrees from light to heavy. Hence the order of the work is that we begin inish and then we achieve accordingly. We should interpret what our sages said about the words received and kept what they had already received. That is, thus far it was by force, as it is written, and they stood at their mountain. I'm sorry, they stood at the bottom of the mountain, and they explained he forced the mountain on them like a vault, and said, if you accept the tour very well, but if you do not, there this will be your burial. It follows that thus far it was by force, and now they accept it willingly. This is called the order of their work. That is the beginning of man's work. Should be by force by nature when a person wants to work for the sake of the Creator, his body objected. This means that in truth we begin inish when the body does not object so much, since when it believes that it will be rewarded for relinquishing small pleasures and receive in return great pleasures, meaning he promises the body that it will receive a greater reward in return for it. His work is not against nature. Hence this is truly the first beginning, but afterward, when he begins the work in order to bestow, the body resists it, as it contradicts the nature with which it was born, just to think only about its own benefit. At that time the work is salve, that is, he must not look at the body whether it agrees to work for the sake of the Creator, but a person needs to do everything in the manner of force, even if the body disagrees. This Korean that a person does is regarded as a prayer, since a person wants to observe love the Lord your God sees that he has no love for the Creator, for there is a rule that where there is love there is no on, rather specifically where there is no love and a person wants to work for someone for whom he has no love can work for him. Thus we should ask, if a person has no love for the Creator, why does he work for him? That is, why should one work? Wholly the answer is that we were given faith. A person must believe that through the course that he forces himself, and he truly wants to love the Creator, this is prayer. By this he will be rewarded with accepted willingly for the love of the miracle that is the Creator gave them, the second nature, which is the desire to bestow, and they were rewarded with the love of the Creator and received everything willingly. Yes, CL questions. We need to come to a state in which we only want to ask for the desire. 2. How can we come to such a state where we just want one thing? By the reforming light, we can come to the changing of our desire and to that it would want to bestow. Until then will remain in order to receive as our desire goes. We're for this to hope for this gradually, slowly we receive it by receiving a certain illumination from below that gives us a new attitude toward our state, and we begin to reach pistil to be similar to the Creator. We identify with the Creator. He's talking about states a person goes through until the end of correction. In one he says that he explains there that actually a person is bribed completely in relation to himself. He gives the example that if a person buys a lottery ticket, he expects to win, which is completely illogical. When he goes on into the road and there is a chance for a car accident, he doesn't believe that at all. It probably happened to someone else, and that's why there's no recognition of evil. A person's not capable of saying, oh, I'm wicked. So where all of a sudden does the recognition of evil come from? With the help of the reforming light, if we do everything and according to what we think we need to reach this SL, and we don't receive it, and we demand it, then we have a prayer, and we demand, where is that light? Always say, don't look for the bad, only look for the good. And here he's bringing us this example where he's a complete wicked. It happens to us in stages, gently. That's why we can also ask for correction on that. Is there a possibility to work such a thing in the 10? Certainly, what needs to be done in the 10 to come to recognition of evil, not in an indirect manner. I'm talking about in a direct manner. Directly is when we want to work with vessels as if we have vessels, and then from that we will discover that we have it. We'll discover that we don't have, and then we'll discover that we can ask for it, and we'll begin to ask for it, and we'll begin to receive. Is this recognition of evil constant, or is it a state that a person has to come to, and that's where it erupts? It's not something permanent, constantly comes to us, and then we stay with it. Rather, we have to worry about it, care about it. What is this action of remember of Z? Yes, there's a remember, and there's T actions that we have to look after, we have to live in until we reach in order to bestow. this remembrance of that it's critical in order to come out of it. Yes. So what do we need to do? Is there a certain action here, or is something that the light brings the light? Certainly all the corrections are done by the light. It's not a person says, let me come here and sit and I'll see the recognition of evil in me. No. Again, could you explain the difference between what he writes there in number 3, that he calls himself a complete wicked, and what he writes there in 4, that it's not clear exactly what this for is a more advanced state in the work, or less advanced in the work? I couldn't really understand what that stage is. Between 3 and 4 there it's like he's advancing from one stage to the next to a more corrected process, but the transition between 3 and 4 is not clear at all. Look, when he wants to work in order to bestow, he sees how far he is from this work. Hence, the wicked comes to him with the who and what questions. At that time he comes to a state where he sees that he is a complete wicked in both mind and heart. So person says about himself that he's a complete wicked, and he has the recognition V at this stage, right? He understands that he's complete. Let's say, yeah. Let's say that he doesn't. And 4, when he is in a state of assent, he thinks of himself that he is righteous, meaning that he will remain in the state of int forever. Yet afterward another descent comes to him, and he sees that he is wicked. Therefore, he does not know what to say about himself, whether to say that he is a complete wicked. He sees that he has a sense when he appears to himself as righteous, or to say that he is righteous, since he sees that during descent he is wicked. Meaning, how does he determine his state? This a person is close to himself. He accepts a bride from the body he loves and says that in truth he is righteous, but an incomplete righteous. Other words, since the body will enjoy more if he justifies himself, he says about himself that he is an incomplete righteous because he has the sense at which time he is in a state of wicked. It does not say that he is wicked because of the descent. For the above reason he accepts bribe from the body, chooses to say that he is righteous, but an incomplete one. No, as so before, that he was in a state where he understood that he was wicked, and then not could have prayed, and at least want to come to move in the direction of becoming a righteous, and then he moves to a stage which he's not clear if he's wicked or if he's righteous. Sounds like it's a worse state than it was before, because here he's kind of like bribing himself. Not clear. Yeah, it's not clear. That's why I'm asking if it's a more advanced state. That's called an incomplete righteous. Thinks he's right because he thought he was righteous. That's what I'm asking. But now he sees that he's seemingly wicked, so he's asking for correction. Asking if when a person advances in the work, he moves to the stage where he's complete wicked, and then he moves to becoming a incomplete righteous, or that he do that. Oh, it works. Yes, now the incomplete righteous, it sounds like a more complex state than being a complete wicked. At least that's how it sounds to me, because he's not certain and he doesn't know. He's receiving bribe from the body, and what? How could it be that when a person starts to lie to himself and says about himself that he's righteous or that he's wicked, it's better than being a complete wicked? How can he pray deeper? It sounds like if I identify that I'm complete wicked, at least in my intellect I'm understanding it this way, so I have a clear place for prayer. Then when I continue and see about myself that maybe I'm a little bit of a righteous, and where's the prayer? It's I'm kind of like in some state between heaven and earth. It's a yes. So is that considered a more advanced state in the work? Depends. How are you using the illumination that you receive? It's possible that now that he received a little bit of an awakening, to a small extent, to more than, then you can determine that you are complete wicked. There's a stage where a person moves in those stages forward and backwards. He thinks that he's a righteous, and then he discovers again that he's a complete wicked. He decides it's not according to the truth. It's according to his discernment, his feeling, meaning that it's a person that says about himself, I am this or that. Again, the reforming light change. Does it change for a person the scale? It's like he doesn't wake up in the morning. No one wakes up in the morning, says about himself, I'm a wicked. Naturally says I'm okay. I have certain limitations, and that light. Naturally people don't even think in that direction. So the question is the reforming light, is that will change us and correct us, meaning it will change for us the scale of even thinking. In different terms of ourselves, is that the matter? Oh yes, why would a person disconnect from it? Why would a person disconnect from the reforming light then? What he's going to be hanging in the clouds, where I didn't understand. Your person needs to try and be connected to the reforming light only. That ensures him that he will advance according to the intensity of the light that he absorbs. That's his state. If it's righteous, it's a sign he's got the light. If he's wicked, it's a sign he doesn't have light. If it's something in the middle, 50, it's a sign that I don't know. It's called 5050. Righteous is one who justifies the Creator, justifies the others, wants to do good to the others. Yes, now when a person feels something that he feels like he's getting something good that the Creator is illuminating to him, then he can also mow to others. It's like it's not so difficult for him with that. When he feels darkness, meaning I'm talking about my corporal life completely, when he feels like he's unlucky and everything's against him, that's the state where it's going to, like, will the reforming light impact him and change him there, specifically there where he feels bad. Mean that's a place where a person needs to examine himself. Yes, containing Gillet's question. This whole page and a half he's devoting to how important it is to remember and also to feel the bad that he's done. Remember and feel, and then in the end he gives this opposite completely. Law and I can't understand how these two laws exist, he says in the end there, because a person is close to himself. He cannot see a bad thing for himself. He cannot, and here he says you must see and feel, and then he says you can't. That's their nature, how to see this evil. It's truly not clear how it's possible to see it, and in what context. One is a result of receiving the light, the upper light that fills him, and then he's called an incomplete righteous. The body enjoys it more when he justifies himself. That's why he says of himself, he incomplete righteous. He has the scent where he in a state of being wicked, but he's not calling himself wicked as a result of the descent, because he receives bribe from the body. That's why he chooses to say that he is righteous, except he is incomplete, because bribe blind the eyes of the righteous. Exactly, this is the point where how can you even stand with this bribe, with this kind of like, it's a point that's very, I don't know, say 10 times here in all the possible ways, that until you see that it's bad and you'll discern it and define it and remember it. I imagine that if you don't do it on your flesh, but until they are very rational actions, there's no chance for you to leave. It's very logical. And then in the end he says this sentence, like, because a person is close to himself, he can't see a bad thing and a harmful thing for himself. How to see this whole thing? It's a nature, doesn't give it. It moves a person that way. It's important. Well, we receive this diagnosis from the Creator, and that's why we follow it. She says that this bad kind of blocks his spirituality best. That's kind of like this, when you don't even know what spirituality, and how can this even be depicted such a bad thing? That's a continuation question. Isn't it best to maybe say that all the disasters, the I don't know rape, all the bad things that are happening that shock a person, to connect that 2-to-1 to man's ego? And here he's saying that the bad is that you're not attaining spirituality. That's without that you can't live the con with the Creator, that who should have answered everything for you and she there. Yes, no more questions. If he writes towards the end there, that the main miracles when he was in a state in which H was in control, he wanted to annihilate all the matter of the Jews in him, whereas when the Jews control man's heart, they can exist, and without caution, meaning the miracle is this inversion. Right, what's the role of a person in awakening? The miracle awakens himself to be not an slumber. So a person that is in such an extreme state, like he's describing, like Haman, wants to erase every remnants of holiness. What can he do with that? What can he do? The Creator, he doesn't have anything else to do. But exactly about that, how does a person that, how does he pray? How does he wants to erase everything? How does he turn to the Creator, which is, you need the opposite. You need to be very, very much to want it, not to want to erase Eaters, what whole how will I turn to the Creator if I want to raise all of wholeness right now in this extreme state of cold meaning? Who will pray to him? Who will turn to him? That's exactly the situation, the one standing against the other. You feel yourself in the middle between holiness and impurity, and you can decide what's the division that there's the state that I'm in, there's the one who identifies that state, there's also the attitude towards the state, and upon that there's also the request of what I want, the desirable state. Where can a person control? What can we actually change that doesn't happen to us passively, but truly actively? We can act in order to advance. Understand this, the state we identify. Am I wicked or am I righteous? Or completely wicked? It's an existing state. Exist is that exist forever. You discover it, you reveal it right at specific state, and then I have my attitude towards that state. I discover that I'm like said here now, and I'm complete wicked. I don't want to be connected to the two. Holiness, that's a state. Okay, then we say that there's another action here that a person can do. Is it only the appeal to the Creator? It's not clear what you can change. Can you change your attitude towards it, or can you actually only ask for the Creator to change my attitude? The Creator will change the attitude, and we have to pray for it. Can we change our attitude in some way to make some kind of preparation, or only the request? No, we have to change attitude. How do we do that? The help of the prayer to the Creator, but it's in our hands what the group do in order to advance inside this, in these different relations and attitudes towards these things, meaning if they're always operating in the same direction, the connection between us and the greatness of the goal and all those things. How does this, no matter what state we're in, it always advances us? It's not clear how it operates in every state. It operates in order to advance us because we are drawing the reforming light. What in this action draws the reformulate? We turn to it, we wish to reveal it more and more. Again, it sounds like it's only the appeal and the request. There's nothing else that we can. What did you expect? I don't know. From what we are working for years already between us 2 years, some forms of connection we had to weaken. This a new is not helpful aside from the prayer connection to the friends and a prayer to the Creator. Yes, Yov, in remembering when friends make a scrutiny with their talking, there's some kind of discussion in the 10 what needs to be reminded to one another. It's bad that bothers and prevents, and this to remember the purpose of creation, the thought of creation. Second, get the one that corresponds to the other in relation to Cition. There's in remember, is there an act of Cition here that he's talking about? Yes, it's written remember. What did to you can a person see himself to remember? Check it, I guess. Yes, perhaps. Yes, is Korean a pleasant feeling? No, typically there's a commandment or command from above, remember, but can caution lead to a feeling of joy? Yes, joy from what if I manage to from having a connection. Joy is always a result of connection with something, meaning that caution is actually a connective means for with what, with who, with the Creator. Connection with the Creator. We're in the worst state that you reveal he wants to, and he's capable of helping you when we don't manage to. Of course, we don't succeed in coursing with receiving the force, of course. Then we know that we have to appeal to talk, turn to him, but in turning to we realize it's a certain Cition, but it's in your hands. To turn to him is in your hands, and to coerce yourself is not in your hands. About prayer to prayer, after all, to ask. We need the force to pray. You feel like it's letting your hands. You have the power to the strength to ask. No, you have to truly come to it. Then you find the power to pray for the correction. Okay, to thank you. I wanted to ask. He writes in the end that in P they received it willingly, but until now it was all in Cition. What is that stage where everything becomes in Cition nature? How to put it? When I say about a state, it's a good state or a bad state. You're saying idly, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I need to check, is the state that's revealed a result of certain conditions? I mean, that's it. He describes it's usually something that you do that you don't want to do. It's like you're being compelled to do it, you're being coerced to do. So here he says that caution, this Cition that a person does is considered as a prayer. So what is this? question what were you coursing yourself upon that it will eventually lead you to a state that you'll all of a sudden receive it willingly, but you have no choice and you must come to a certain level of identification with the Creator. You discover just how far you are from it, then you're advancing through coercion. Although it's far distant, it's not from me, but I have to show that yes, I would have loved to get to it if it's in quotient. Why is it called prayer? Because I'm not praying it to the Creator, but the fact that you're coing yourself. Is it a lack? Is it an expression of a lack? The fact that I'm coring, of course you're doing it against their desire. The fact that it's be against the desire. I understand the question is in order to receive from the Creator you need a desire, and here I'm doing it against the desire. So where's the desire? Here the desire that's against the desire. Okay, now in the end he says they received it due to the miracle. And they received it because of the love of the miracle. What is this for the love of the miracle? What did they love that they're suddenly receiving? They understand that only through a miracle they can reach a solution for their state. They love it. They like the fact that there's an upper force that they can awaken through their prayer, their request. They can pull it. So in the transition from the state where they're being coed, they're doing everything in under core. How do they suddenly come to the love of the miracle? How do you come to a state? How that from Setion you suddenly receive? Because you are coring yourself. You're working with desires that are not real. You know, hate the evil inclination. You awaken it as if it's the evil inclination, and then by that you obligate the upper one to take care of you, and the response of the upper one makes a miracle upon us. Do we control this miracle that he's doing to us, or is it simply when he decides we'll do the miracle? No, we have no control over it when he does it. We have no control. So in what do we love? The miracle. Where is this love of the miracle? If he does it when he decides specifically, because of that we love him. When this force comes and takes over, but he controls according to what I'm asking. For the article he says, remember that Amal is bad. What bad is he talking about? The to receive. It's an acronym in order to receive, yes, but what's bad in it? What does a person need to remember to see it as bad? This opposite the Creator. And how does he see? How does he discover it? How does the person discover it and wanted to erase it? We does this happen on the ground he wants to perform act of ball and he can't do it. So what does it mean to remember? Where do I grasp this? It's bad that it's not good to me. Try to come out of yourself and be the star. Can you do it? No, try to examine you. Where is that desire in your heart ruling over everything? It can't let you off for a moment. So that's the bed. Yes, that's not letting me move forward. Correct. Take you back to the matter of Setion. Who's the one who course is this upon a person? I think it's the Creator, the upper force. So what does a person do if it's the Creator? A person doesn't want to agree with it. So what is the Setion expressed? What do he say? He's coursed until he says I want. So who's the one that's been coursing? Who's coursing of course the Creator. Why isn't the Creator coursing? Now what does the person need to do? So that to evoke this process of Setion in order to rediscover in a person a greater force toward sanctity. The Creator puts him deeper and deeper into impurity in order to receive. Then comes and does always all those wars with a person until a person says, that said I'm better off dead. Can't live this way. I must come out this mess. Everyone assembles, gathers to so what is the active action for a person to enter into this, and a person makes an effort for connection, prays to the Creator even though he doesn't really want this, and it's called caution because he doesn't really want it. And in parallel the Creator intensifies, grows the evil in him. Yes, he have a greater prayer, and person continues to work in the connection and prayer that he doesn't really want to do this, and in parallel the Creator is growing the bad, and this is how we seemingly advance in path in parallel until it comes to what to a point of shattering, until it reaches a point where a person sees that the last with his last remaining power he screams, he cries after the Creator, and the Creator seemingly with his last bit of power helps him, but then it repeats itself again until the end. The correction. So in what is this point of shattering expressed? Now that wasn't there before? Why does it suddenly happen? Why all of a sudden does the person say like R said right now, and he's just not capable anymore? What? Is it reaching a certain quotient? What that's written, and you're tired and exhausted and don't know your God, and we go through all those states. That's it. Here the Creator is playing with us. He's growing us. His work is start this process each time from a new, like we're starting from zero. Yes, thank you. Again, is asking. I really see, but I don't feel that it's bad enough for me to ask for correction for it. But I know that if I don't ask the correction, it will be a problem in the continuation. What do I need to do in order to take this and to invert the heart to prayer? The main thing is the connection between the friends that have to be together in one desire, in one action. This is what we shouldn't forget from New York 2 on the same issue. How does coercion lead to a prayer? He's being CD, meaning from above. Person is coerced and then he bows down, he surrenders, he can't do anything. Sometimes he can get up, he up and straightens out, and he takes a few steps forward, and again that's how it happens intermittently. That's the work one, the feeling of the bad, the wickedness, to relate to the feeling of wickedness correctly yourself as being in the place of the Creator, and the created being is your small child, really like 6 months old, 1 or 2 years old, and how he battles and wishes to succeed and cannot, and then again wishes to succeed and cannot, but from one time to the next he becomes wiser and stronger, receives discernment, new discernment. That's how it works. What does it mean? Bribe from the body. A bribe from the body is that it's comfortable for the body. Speak to yourselves whether I'm confused or something, and then you just switch off, you go to sleep. Each one, it happens in different ways, but that's how it actually is. 23. It's written that a person should pay attention to the ham in his heart, how it wants to destroy anything that pertains to holiness, how to realize it in practice. This attention his name is built of in order to receive. Sorry, no, that's Amal, that's a little bit different. Yes, and what should we do? Again, connection. We have nothing to do, only on all kinds of degrees. It's different kinds of connection, that's all. Okay, should we believe in miracles? Believe, he's talking about in faith. There's a process, so we have to believe in miracles, believe in something that cannot happen. That I'm asking, what kind of direction are we getting in terms of the thinking we should have about what we're doing to let go of some that we unable to do, some fixation in our thoughts. We need to awaken each other each day, at every moment, to change us to the correct direction. So what is the love of the Mar? It's something I need to have from the beginning of the way, right? Preparing oneself for that in which he always has miracles before him, that you are ready to engage in miracles. What does it mean that I'm preparing myself to see the miracles? What is going to happen when you try to identify acts of the Creator, how he corrects them in your receive. Now he says the fact that they did it willingly is a miracle. In other words, if we feel that there is a desire and that desire is satisfied, it's already a miracle. Yes, in what is the desire to bestow, or in what is preferred to reception, because there to say it's not great illumination, small illumination, that we feel that we are receiving even before we bestow. You, I didn't get it. He says that they received it willingly. That's already a miracle. Before that, everything was compulsory by coercion. So what's special about best? Because even before he in best, he already felt he had desire. He was already if satisfied in that desire. So even though he received that feeling in order to receive, he still felt like he was receiving in his desire, and for him that was and here we're trying to go to something that seemingly doesn't exist until we receive in the desire, and then it'll be a miracle for us. So what's the preference here? How is bestow preferred or better than reception here? Because the person chooses it and wants it to be that way, and he wants to behave within be only that he is incapable according to how he was born. Why does a person prefer to go with coercion, not to receive willingly instead of receiving willingly, even though it's in order to receive? Why does choose not to receive willingly, and it will, that it will be by coercion according to what you say? How You're expressing it, and it appears that he loves more than they necessitate him, that it comes from and this responsibility. Now there's probably something deeper that I'm trying to bring out, that a person prefers to work on the path of coercion, and only in the end it becomes of his own volition instead of remaining in his initial state. He already feels he already exists in his desire. He's receiving satisfactions as they are in the desire, in his current desires that the animate corporeal never mind he a regular person, so he's already, so he prefers to go in order to bestow, and in that receive reward. Yes, he prefers to go toward coercion without desire. It's all against. Yes, so what is this opposite choice? That's bestow, that he wishes to identify with the Creator in his actions. So this is how he expresses. Is this called expressing his love? He expresses his identification with the nature of the Creator. What that is all more. No, give it to your neighbor to receive, want to receive please from the act, and from the result of the actor is erasing the memory of the act, but there's a memory of the feeling. No, speak simply is in order to receive. We want to receive in order to receive, or we don't want to receive. That is the whole matter of Amalek. Let's not go into such philosophies. The wisdom of Cab operates on a very simple level, much closer to nature. That's all. Holland course morning, dear morning. It says, let's say in the article, in the future all the occasions will be cancelled except for the scroll. Esther, so what does this scroll of Esther actually do to us? Okay, because in that we use a complete vessel in order to bestow, receiving in order to bestow in a complete vessel. What does it mean then in this case? That the light, let's say, will shine in the future, and then there is no boundary to the reception of light. It expands in all of the vessels. Yeah, okay, thank you. New York 2. Yes, thank you. Are 2 questions from the 10. What is the meaning of repentance? That it is capable of bringing one's evil inclination into the domain. Repeat, please. Sorry again. What is the meaning of repentance? Capable of bringing one's evil inclination off, because the person checks himself and sees what vessels he uses, and from that he chooses the vessel of bestow and spiritual ascent. Was said in a place where those who repent stand, that place where the people of repentance stand, that is that they reach the recognition of the understanding of what it means to receive, and then receiving in order to bestow, and then the person elevates himself higher than everyone else. If I may just a follow-up question as well, how can evil inclination be included in cuss if it's not corrected? First suggests that it's added to first, and only then it is corrected. If you could clarify, please. Didn't understand. He's talking about a situation where the evil inclination is incorporated in the car in holiness before it's corrected. This is what he understood. So he's asking, yes, how can this happen? Because evil inclination is not, it's also the will to receive, and in order to bestow, the matter of creation is always the will to receive. We have nothing else. One, we don't have a question. Recognition of evil comes to a person through unpleasant states, but specifically, then there's an opportunity to connect with the force of the Creator, the light. So the first question is the connection done through self-annulment and reception, acceptance of the app force and everything. Yes, and connection in the friends. By this can we strengthen our faith in the Creator? Yes. And another question, we show permission from a friend of evil. Do we come to it by looking for the reason for the troubles? Yes. Also thank you. Can Africa shalom roar without tasting best? Is it possible for I didn't hear the end. If we can repeat please. Pleasure of bestow. Is it possible to fight against amal, which frightens us from the pleasure of again without tasting the pleasure of it possible to fight against, because it separates us from these pleasures? Yes, let's say that it's possible. Yes, what else do we have? Woman, have one. We talked earlier about how a person is close to himself and always justifies himself. To what can a person compare himself in order to begin to feel that he is not righteous? Because when we study Kabbalah, we compare ourselves to the world in general, so we feel even more righteous. First of all are the worst and not higher than the world, and that will continue until we start feeling ourselves lowly, really, that we're all zeros. Nothing, we just need to understand that we feel this way. It is the truth, however, if we connect between us and from us to the Creator, then from that great minus great total minus of ours we can reach a plus. But how do we begin? How can we to? What can we compare ourselves? So we will see that we are truly lowly, as you say. Starting is in a person really seeing that he is a zero, that all of his thoughts are only for his own sake. Yes, but then I say okay, but we're working on the correction. And no, you can write that in your book, all these well-known sentences. The judge doesn't accept these things, so how do we begin? I want something to change. One change until you will agree with me. Can I ask? Yes, how do we erase the memory of Amal from the external people of Israel through dissemination and explanation? But it doesn't seem like they understand what we are disseminating. According to my feeling, it's no problem to explain it. It's no problem to explain it. And concerning the inner people within us, how do we erase this will to receive? That too, that's what we need to explain. Please, how to be careful from idol worship. Idol work is that we awaken our egoism above our heads. We raise it, our heads, we make it into a God, and we bow down before it, meaning we observe everything that the ego wants. That is called idol work. Thank you. Good morning, friends. When a person asks for correction for his friends in within him, does it draw light on the externality, on the friends externally if they have a connection? Yes, I'm talking about the 10. Okay, if they have a connection. Yes, okay, so now, but light, is it regarded as an internal correction or as an external correction? Internal correction. Thank you very much. Good morning, world. 10. With your permission, I'm going to read a paragraph. It goes like this. This is why we read the portion before P, but before the portion we read the portion which implies in the work, and is, as says, that it is a stone to weigh with, because a person has to weigh the order of his work to see if it is for the sake of the Creator or not, meaning it is impossible to come to obliterate it before we know force of the evil in it, how it causes us all of the distance from the Creator, and afterwards something small. Therefore, when we weigh the work in order to, if it is okay or not, then we can come to the recognition of evil. The whole topic of paying off with your permission, that's the question. The miracle is that, in fact, the Creator is given to us, taking us through all the states within us, all the states we need the portion of. And then there's the topic of the whole, remember, and of course he also connected to Tai and Jerusalem to achieve Hess. Is this a process? Is this the miracle that a person manages to go through all these processes in succession? Thank you very much. May we succeed and reach Jerusalem with the help of the Creator. Thank you. Hacks. Question from the 10. We understand that a complete prayer comes from the bottom of the heart. How can we obtain that desire? How do we obtain one desire if we are only a desire to receive, and everything around us is desires to receive? How do we attain one desire? We all have one desire, only to receive something. One is a little bit different from the other, so what we need, these desires, we need to direct them in order to bestow, and then we can organize them in one line, and the Creator will draw us to Him, and accordingly we can connect between us to Him. That's an act that He does through the light. It's really one action. All of us are become organized according to a single line. Thank you, Latin. Woman, thank you. If we accept the allegory of the but in justifying ourselves, is this called falling into idol worship? Therefore, in this doubt, in these contradictions, do we have to discover that Amalek, he's leading us to believe in our own strength and removing us faith. Yes, at this important moment before Purim, what should the world ask from the Creator? So we come to a new state, a new degree. What should we ask? Connection, unity, and nothing else. But you said we must all feel alk within us. Yes, so how do we come to everyone feeling Adium at some level? Woman, it seems like I need to wait for some measure of will to receive, and in the meantime not ask. This is how I realize that I don't have a complete measure of will to receive. How do I come to the complete measure? Hello, what does it mean to obliterate the memory of but remember what he did to us. Thy needs to remain and nothing other than that, meaning not to remember my actions, that they will be a new good morning. The fear of facing the evil shows that we are lacking faith in the Creator. What should I do in order to completely be freed from the fear and get complete confidence in the Creator? That you are like a small child standing before a mall, but after you the whole world is there with the Creator together against that. A mall is all in all, one power, even though it's great power that can control you. But if you are connected to the world and to the Creator, so no one can stand up to you, that's how you need to see the situation. Okay, PT 29 question about the prayer from the bottom of the heart on page WR. Therefore, when a person prays to be given something, he must have a deficiency for the filling. Therefore, if there's another desire in a person's heart, it is a sign that he doesn't have a complete desire. Since his desire is divided into two desires, it follows that the two of them are not big, whereas when he has only one desire in his heart, this is called that what he's asking is from the bottom of the heart. And then there's the example of the desire for rest. She's already not one desire, so the question is, should a person how to work with their natural desires? Should we remove them or increase the desires for spirituality, or maybe both? How to come to heaven? One desire, a spiritual desire. When does a person come to complete surrender to the recognition of evil in him and doesn't deny it? When does a person come to complete surrender of his recognition of evil and does not deny it? When he sees the extent to which the evil inclination controls him completely. And how does he not deny that the evil inclination controls him and he doesn't run away from it? What can he do to can he say that it's not like that if he sees that it's that way before everyone, and how he doesn't escape from that? Because if he escapes from that, then he leaves the single connection that he has with the Creator, even though that connection is no good through the will to receive in order to receive. But in any case, he is connected to the Creator through that, and he can ask the Creator to invert him. Thank you. FR 1. Does it mean we have bad intentions in it's a vessel and then we forget it is the egoistic desire in the person, and we need to reveal it, to isolate it, and to use everything else, all the other qualities of ours, and not that one, and then gradually we distance ourselves from it until it disappears? No. Well, is it possible to force the Creator? I didn't understand. He's asking if it's possible to force the Creator to what? To give a desire, to bestow, or to come to a real prayer. Yes, that is exactly the way we need to go. This do we come to this point by coin from him? That's the will to receive that wishes to help us, and that it presses the Creator to give us a desire to bestow. What is the best way to come to a prayer before a prayer to receive the real deficiency? If people will come to you and will hit you, okay, to encourage. So how to encourage my friends to beat me? If you're saying we have to get beat up, how can I make the friends beat me up? The friends will beat me up. You cannot do that because it's against your nature. You cannot ask for blows. Even if you ask for it, it wouldn't be blows. It would be as if like it's how do you put it? Like there's a word in Hebrew for this, as if it's a lie. You tell the story sometimes of how you were sick and you jumped on this doctor's table. You jumped on the surgeon's table. I feel like I'm totally sick and I want if the solution is for the friends to beat me up. Can't I ask for the meeting? You ask the doctor to fix you. Yes, but then that's not blows. After the operation I saw that after the operation I would become healthy, and that's what I asked for. You told me no, after they'll hit me I'll come to a true. You tell me it's clear to me, so you want blows. In short, yes, we have a long day today. Will hit you because I sleep throughout the day, through half the lessons, and I don't know how to wake up, and I don't know where my prayer is. I am confused. Go to do the work which is the most hated and hardest for you. Go to work which is the hardest and most hated for you. Receive didn't succeed in other will to receive doesn't get impressed from that. So what else can you do? No, it didn't. My will to receive wasn't impressed by that. But even sometimes More times I'm not even to even succeed in engaging in the work that friends asked me to do. It's like I'm 2 steps before the actual revelation, or something had to come closer to it. Do you write down what you need to do during the day, during the morning lesson? I don't succeed in doing that. You don't succeed in understanding. Write down you the lesson. What I need to do during the day, yes, no. I don't write. It all kinds of thought desires come to you, all kinds of things. Write what you need to do during the day. A framework, yeah. How do I maintain the framework? How do I maintain the framework so that so I maintain the thoughts that I'm writing. Then that's already connection with the group, your connection with the friends. Yes, we'll think about that. Okay, what are we doing? We can read stud the we have test. For that's for the last hour, or for now we can move to it. Now the reading of tasks. For what's that? Before we move short tune and next part of the lesson. For we are reading in the study of the 10 part 15 item 1. A 200 stud material is you can send questions live through the S. Anyone asking a question in the study hall should stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth and speak loudly and clearly. Item, it has been explained in the interpretations of concerning the demission of the moon that at throughout the time of the exile zone stand back during the week days except during prayer and on Shabbat, etc. As has been explained, though when they want to return to face sleep has to come on Z first, so that the removal will be done and she will be returned. She will be able to return face to face with him as mentioned in the commentaries. Again 200, it has been explained in the commentaries of concerning the diminution of the moon that throughout the exile zone stand back to back throughout the week days except during prayer and on Shabbat, etc. As has been explained, though when we want to return to face there must be sleep on Z first, so that the removal would be done and she will be able to return to face with him as mentioned in the commentaries of since the matter of and was at the end of the 70 years of the exile of Babylon, their days the matter of the correction of sun began already in order to return to face and for Israel to be redeemed. The matter of this beginning is the sleep that was done then in their days the matter of and was at the end of the 70 years of the exile in Babylon. In their days the matter of the correction of said began already in order to return to face and for Israel to be redeemed. The meaning of this beginning is the sleep that was done then in their days. 202. This is the meaning of the great trouble that Israel had, then of which it was said, and behold, dread great darkness, and our sages said this darkness is the exile of Mad which darkened the eyes of Israel. It means that since then Zed was in sleep, and it is known that was a great astrologer as is known in the matter of casting a lot, which from day to day, and especially in what is written in the book of Zed, that he and his 10 sons contain all 10 external shells, and he knew by his wisdom the matter of the demission of his providence over Israel in those days since he was in a form of sleep. This is why he thought and contemplated that the time was ready to destroy the enemies of Israel. Again 202. This is the meaning of the great trouble that Israel had then, of which it was said, and behold dread great darknesses. Said this darkness, the darkness is the exile in Mad which darkened the eyes of Israel. It means that since then Zed was in sleep, in slumber sleep, and it is known evil Haman was a great astrologer, and as it is known concerning casting the lot, which is a lot from day to day, especially what is written in the book of Zor, that he and his 10 sons contain all 10 external shells, and he knew by his wisdom about the demission his providence over Israel in those days as he was in a state of sleep. Therefore he thought and contemplated that the time was right to destroy the enemies of Israel. Keep going. This is the meaning of the argument between Ham and this tactic or counsel would succeed, and a man replied to him, there is a certain people, etc. and these said their God is asleep, and understand that since that sleep is for the benefit of Israel, so that the female would be removed from the posterior, and they would return to face, and is would be redeemed, and the temple would be built. Therefore the two of them consulted between each other, because at that time, when their God is asleep, they will come first and destroy the enemies of Israel, so that not even a few would remain that are worthy of redemption, and by this would not be built the counsel of Ham from Sh his son, and their writings, which is called in the book of Isra, until they cancel the building of the temple, when they saw that it was time to be built, and suffice for that suffice with that. 204 At the time of the sleep the female is not asleep, because then they depart from Z and enter the female in order to be built, in order to build and correct her P, so she can return to face, as is known concerning the commentary on the shofar of during. Necessarily there is illumination, and this providence over Israel from her side, and the meaning of that illumination was the matter of righteous as we well explain 10. Yes. 205 Saw by whom there was illumination and providence or guidance of R at that time. He consulted with his wife's and his 365 counselors, and said that his wife said was a great witch. Her advice was equal to all of his 365 counselors, and their advice was to kill Mordai and hang him on the tree. It is the tail of the serpent, the continuation of the leg of the. See the letter Kof, as is explained in the book of Zohar and the Son of Psalms. Yes, 6 God forbid that that was to happen. He would be able to destroy the enemies of Israel, and then the Creator by his mercy shown the illumination of the upper Nuk, and this is the greatness of and through them Israel were saved from that great trouble, as we will explain. And this is the meaning of and his illumination. Again 6 If God forbid that would happen afterwards, he would be able to lose the enemies of Israel, to destroy the enemies of Israel, and then the Creator with his mercy shown the illumination of the upper, and this is the greatness of and through them Israel were saved from that great trouble, as we will explain, and this is the meaning of Mordai and his elimination. 207 At the time of the sleep of not only there enter on the side of I am and enter the when she is back. Also the Lord God built the rib. This is a ba and again that at the time of Dieter the sleep said not only the from the side of I am ent when she is back to back, but also the of Azan, and the Lord God built the. This is ab and I am. It follows that as when those are inside sin 2 illuminations came out from them, and with respect to the illumination of Jacob comes out from the side of the anterior of, and from the illumination of comes out from his posterior. From these 2 illuminations come out also undoubtedly 209. Moreover, when the above mentioned is inside the female, a 3rd illumination is added, which is not so when they are in sin. This is that since they are inside sin, when they are inside sin of I am was completed in the and of which is longer was completed at the end. Truly, and did not come out of at all again. 209 More when that above mentioned is inside the female, a 3rd illumination is added compared to when they are inside sin. This is that when they are inside. This is because when the inside of was completed in the of and of which is longer was completed at the end. Truly, and did not come out of at all. Now when they are inside the female is a short, it is necessary for the of aba to expand and exit the of nva outwards, and for its illumination to be revealed completely, openly, and it is known that in of is the crown of ab, which is of ab, and there is no doubt that this illumination that is revealed from of is a very great illumination. Again now when they are inside the female is short, it is necessary for the as of aba to expand and come out of the assault of outwards, and for its illumination to be revealed completely, openly, and it is known that what close and often is the crown of ab, which is the mal of aba, and there is no doubt that this illumination that is revealed from of is a very great illumination. The root of the soul of was from that illumination. This reason through him was the salvation of Israel at that time. This is implied by the name. Our sages said that it comes from the words and its translation is freedom also near. Parsing. 12. The thing is that great illumination is more, which is freedom refined and completely clean, passing from of outwards. This is the meaning of the verse. And my hands were dripping, passing mirror. By this you will understand the merit of rose to the state of mal and became the vice king. This is the meaning of the verse. And Mudai came out from before the king in royal attire, era and the great crown of gold. Again 22. The thing is that great illumination is me refined and utterly clean, completely clean, passing from off outwards. This is the meaning of the verse. My hands were dripping, passing myrrh. By this you will understand the meaning, the merit of rose to the state of mal and became the vice of their king. This is the meaning of the verse. Came out from before the king in royal attire in a great crown of gold. 213. The enlightened will understand all the details of this. The meaning of this exit from before the king is Rachel and a great crown of gold from the crown of Ab. This is why it is called great, because are called greatness the great, mighty and awful. Baman delving one will understand that they are from the tribe of Benjamin. 24. This is the meaning of the reading of the scroll, the book of, and also its expansion, spreading it while reading for the purpose of making the miracle known. This is the meaning of the illumination of the crown of mal of which is revealed and goes outside, and this is why it is called a scroll. The word gu, revealing, scroll from the word g, revealing, because it needs to be revealed and made known. It is also written as scroll without aud, which is 78 in Gatria, like 326, 26, 26, which are the three of that are revealed therein. That 25. This is the meaning of the scroll being called a letter, and it is called a book, and it's got rules like the written Torah, because the book of is the of called written Torah. The shape of the book, the shape of a book is like a long V, and the scroll is the illumination that emerges outside of the is long like a the shape of the V and the shape of a long scroll, and it is enough for the enlightened with these comments. 2:16. However, these days of P are done each and every year, and it was not enough to do it at that time. Only reason is that the Creator with His mercy wanted that renewed illumination when they of are inside the female at the time of the sleep of Thane will never be cancelled each and every year in those days themselves. Yet those days of Pim are done each and every, and it was not enough to do it at that time. Only the reason is that the Creator by His mercy wanted that renewed illumination when they of are inside the female at the time of the sleep of sin will never be cancelled each and every year in those days themselves. 27. Because after the sleep they return to face, and this illumination does not come out then at all, and the illumination of is completely revoked and disappears inside, and the Creator wanted that every year during Purim, even if zone are face to face, the above mentioned illumination would be revealed in those days and will not be cancelled. 2. The thing is that each year in those days when enter as the sleep of said, although afterwards they return to face, the above mentioned illumination will not be cancelled and will remain existing there and registered even after the departure of these mowing from her. And when they return, and they return to said again. 28. The thing is that each year in those days when the enter as the sleep of the although afterwards they return to face, that above mentioned illumination will not be cancelled and will remain existing there and registered even after the departure of those mo from her when they return. 29. This is the meaning of what the text says, and their memory will not disappear from the descendants, because that illumination is the crown of Y of the male of Aba, which is called male, and their memory will not disappear end from their descendants on the days of Purim each and every year. 220. Therefore in the future, which is the end of correction, all the holidays, all the festivals will be cancelled except for the scroll of East. The reason is that there was never such a great miracle as this on Shabbat out on good days for this illumination to exist, even after the departure of the moin from their female, except only on the days of for, and in this respect there is a great advantage to him over all the other days even, of good days, 221 thus each year on the days, of to attain or maintain that above mentioned, the illumination, we have to observe 3 commandments. They are the reading of the scroll in order, to extend, draw and reveal that above mentioned illumination, that is that comes out openly, and there are 2 other phases that need that are necessary 22, and these are the first is the illumination of that of Abba in Arian, Rachel for the purpose of the correction of the construction of her, because this is why the above mentioned moin enter her in order, to increase her, to magnify her, and make her as mentioned, and this is done by gifts to the poor. This is why is called poor and meager, and of Ab called righteous gives her charity and gifts. This illumination exists by giving gifts below to the poor ones, and by this commandment such as that happens above 223. Their second discernment is that after itself is established through the charity and the gift to the poor, another illumination needs to be in hers in the mo themselves, as mo themselves, which clothe inside her of during their sleep, and the mentioned illumination must be in her all of those days which are called, and it should remain existing there even if they depart after the sleep, and she returns to face. Nevertheless, the illumination of those mo will remain existing in her. Mo will not depart entirely as on the other days. This matter depends on observing a different commandment, which is to have the meal of Porma feast and joy and mirth. 24. This is the meaning of eating and drinking, as it has been explained that they of the female is called, and they are done from the face of UK, and they are drawn in her by eating and drinking. This is the meaning of eating, drinking, drank. Why? Because by eating and drinking that are called are drawn to her, and she herself is implied in the word eating, which Henry is with included, one implying that these of that are drawn through the eating are in the female called adne again. 24. This is the meaning of eating and drinking, as we have explained that the of the female is called, and they are done from the ph of, and they are drawn into her by eating and drinking, and the meaning of eating is drinking shut yad drank yad, because through eating and drinking that are called yad are drawn to her. She herself is also implied in the word eating, which is ad in gatria with included, implying that these of that are drawn through the eating are in the female. 25. In gatria is 261, and the name ad in its full is 271, which is the name esd lacking 10, and in her hides the inner dot itself, called the called because she hides. Esd means concealment, because she hides thus far. Came the commentaries of the AR, and the meaning of sending gifts to each other was not explained by the AR, and perhaps he implied that the matter of the elimination of which was given to, and they called to each other, as I understand. It came all the book of commentaries of the AR, and I did not drop or miss a single word from his words. 2. 26. Portions, and I say just said 2 portions for 1 person, and 2 gifts for 2 poor ones. We should see why with the friends he said portions with a letter, with 1 letter T, and with poor ones 2 letters, since you know that is called man and main illumination, and the illumination of this day is mainly the revelation or the revealing of Y of AB, which is the M when it is clothed in of I am. He therefore said portions with 1 T, because the letter T is from the side of K. Yes, 227 in a way that there are 2 portions, 1 from the side of ABA, which is man of portions, as you know, and 1 from the side of I am, and they are man, which is of ABA to his friend, which is if ABA is great. When he descends to the place of said, he's called his friend, as in Z. When he descends to it is said about him, the man takes off his shoe and gives to his friend. Again, there's 228 and 229. Please 228. The gifts to the poor are from the side of I, and therefore they too TS the letters T, because they are from the side of N, and they are 2 gifts to 2 poor ones, which are core. You know that the willow does not have a scent or flavour, and they're called poor, because IMA expands through H29. Also what our sag said, that the days of anyone who stretches out his hand is given the thing is that the collector of charity is the and in the week days we should see to whom he gives the charity, but now when it is of ABA great illumination he should not be maggle, but anyone who stretches out his hand is given what more in 29 also what just said that on the days of Purim anyone who stretches out his hand is given the thing is that the collector of charity is in the weekdays which is of should see to whom he gives the charity, but now when he is of Abba great illumination he should not be meticulous, but anyone who stretches out his hand is given okay well, and the interpretation in or in a light in light 229 in the days of P anyone who stretches out his hand is given because the of the second restriction is called low as it is written going over the plates of the lock, because it locks the light so that they do not expand from her, and below so that the lower outer ones will not grip to them, because as long as the lights have no, there is a grip to the outer ones in them as mentioned in the previous parts. When close in her which is going over the up arms of the lock as it is long meaning G, and there is no grip to the outer ones in this great light, hence anyone who stretches out his hand is given not okay. Anyone wants to ask anything? Yes, can you explain this in a light? You explain it some more. No, however you understand it, I think that mainly in general other than entering into all kinds of individual discernments, but in general it's okay. It's clear that you have this special illumination in ABA and how it expands and through what it expands downward to the lower ones, which is the secretive of all the holidays. What does it mean that he stretches out his hand who reveals the desire to receive, and that he has no stretches out his hand, it's a desire to receive as he has an in poo. What? Why is it said that there was no such a miracle in Egypt, for example? There wasn't such an illumination, no, not like in poo. All the sparks were saved, but only for the exit from Egypt, and here it's an ascent to a higher degree, something else. No, well, we'll still study it, but it's interesting to know what else do we have. We have announcements for the end of the lesson. Increasing joy, dear friends, you're invited to a World Unity Day for P. The event will take place on Shabbat, March 23. Details and registration go to convention. Clay broadcast Thursday at 110. Spiritual states at 12 afternoon noon. Lesson 7:30 reading the stud of the and 7:30 reading the said V, and we will end. There's no song today because it's a day of fast. La